The Smashing Pumpkins Autumn Act 1 album review. Let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning here tonight to chat about this Act 1 of a 3-act series from alternative rock legends, the Smashing Pumpkins. A band that, God, like, recently I was thinking, like, who has done more, back and forth with me over the years? Is it Weezer or the Smashing Pumpkins? And I really don't know at the end of the day. I mean, there was a time, for many years where the Smashing Pumpkins meant everything from me. I mean, Gish, Siamese Dream, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, even Adore meant the world to me. But it's been since the 2000s that I've had constantly more shifting thoughts on the band with each lineup change. The reunion, the first reunion, which was barely a reunion. Terrible album after terrible album like Zeitgeist. And over the years, I've seemingly found less and less excuses for Billy Corgan and company when it comes to their album, with their last album, Sire, just really scraping bottom of the barrel for me. I mean, this thing was long, it was bloated, it was full of itself, and really featured some of Billy Corgan's worst songwriting ever. Now, I've had a rough couple of weeks on this blog. I mean, we had the Turnover album, which I still have not gotten over. It's probably the worst thing I've heard all year. We had Christine and the Queens, which was really very average. I expected so much more. We had a very safe, horribly safe album from Gold Panda, and that leads us here to the Smashing Pumpkins Autumn Act 1, and it is not good. This album starts off with its title track, and can we just, stop this now? I mean, right off the bat, I can tell you this is not going to be a fun trilogy of acts. This is a lot of synths right off the bat, and if you know me, you know I love it, but not in my pumpkins. Right off the bat, I'm also trying very hard because Billy Corgan has come out and said this is supposed to be the spiritual successor and sequel to legendary album Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. And I'm kind of pissed off already. And I don't like to be in that mind frame, but that's where we are. This intro is so drawn out. It is full of itself. There's no emotion in sight, and this is a cold intro, and I usually like a little chilliness to my synths, but this just makes me want to end this review right now and not listen to any of the other parts of this 3-act album. Then we get the Butterfly Suite, and it is not any better at all. This light on the ears Twilight synth show is just not very nice on the ears. And listen, I will give Billy Corgan some credit because he's trying. He's trying to make this work. He's got his head into this sound. He really believes this is the way to go. He really thinks this is something huge and life-changing. But it is not. Even when the guitars roll in for the chorus, I'm just so not invested in this. Later on, we get With a Do, I Do. It's a much more stripped down and somber tune, which is something I usually kind of gravitate towards when it comes to the Pumpkins. But Billy kind of falls flat on his face. This track is emotionless. It is heartless. It's so lukewarm, and you know what? I'll give it credit. When the instrumental comes in for the chorus, I actually don't completely hate it, but it's Billy's ego and the directionless of this track and this act as a whole that drag this down. But would you believe it? It gets even worse with tracks like Hooligan. And once again, I'll give credit where it's due. Billy brings in a little crunchy riff. He, breaks his guitar out. But the result is a mellower version of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra somehow sound. And the songwriting, like I said, it gets worse. Somehow. This is not a good project. I think it's probably the worst thing Billy's put out under the Smashing Pumpkins name. It's very frustrating, and I'm not in the mood to be positive about a lot of things. But you know what? I will. And that's mostly because in the years that I've done this blog, and it's been a long time now, I've become a very positive person, and I can find, some small glimpses of hope in a lot of crap, and that's what we get here. The Good and Goodbye, I don't even want to say this, but it's probably the best track here. It's got a little oomph to it, it's got a little energy, it's got a crunchy lick, and for a few minutes, dare I say, Billy Corgan sounds invested. Hell, I wouldn't even mind listening to this track again. I could say a lot of the same things about Embracer. I mean, while I'm feeling generous, this track's not that bad. For a much more synth-driven, synth pop tune, this is actually not bad at all. I mean, trust me, if you're really hating on this project, as I am, this won't change anything as a whole. But in my opinion, compared to a lot of the other material here, this is probably the most emotionally invested track here. And you know what? While I'm at it, Steps in Time might be a personal fave of mine as well. It's more than just a track with a little extra meat on that riff. It's a genuinely well-crafted and catchy alternative rock tune. I would even go as far as to say, as far as a modern Smashing Pumpkins sound, this would be the way to go. But if you thought that this would keep up for the rest of the album, you are sadly mistaken, because it just gets worse. Screw you, Billy. Come on. Where Rain Must Fall is a stripped down ballad, and it is not a good one. I mean, yeah, of course there's synths here too, but I'm just trying to ignore them at this point. And let me just make this clear. There was a time where Billy Corgan's lyrics spoke to me. Hell, I would even go as far as to say they spoke for me. But then I just hear this clumsy, awkward track with no chemistry whatsoever, and I'm just pissed off again. When we get to Beyond the Veil, we've gotten to the point in the track listing here that I'm completely unmoved by a little crunchy guitar lick. Like, sure, maybe if we got a more handful of tracks like this, I would be a little bit more positive, but that's a stretch. The truth is, I'm numb to this. I'm numb to Billy's lyrics that are just a shadow of his former self here. I'm numb to the heartless performances that feel like they wish they could be doing anything else than recording this album right now. But my God, it gets worse the second that Hooray shows up. Hey guys, Disco Billy is here, and somehow, some way, it is worse than I imagined. Like, yes, Billy's been a little all over the place since they put out Zeitgeist in the early 2000s. I was there for it. I was unmoved by it then. I'm pretty unmoved by it now, but this may just be the worst thing that they've put out. And I mean this track alone. It's horrifying. And the Gold Mask ends off this Act 1. And you know that from this album, and you know from this channel, that I love my synths big. But this is too cheesy even for me. And once again, I appreciate the energy here. He's trying to pull something together, but I'm numb. Even more so, I'm brain dead. This act is absolutely atrocious, yet somehow better than the new Turnover. You can quote me on that, but this is a absolute disaster of a start for this 3-act series that's coming down the pipe from Billy Corgan and the Smashing Pumpkins. And if this is a telling of where it's going to be one of the hardest things that I've ever had to review on this channel. Act 1 is not good. It is just not good. And I don't know what else to say. You may like it. If you do, God bless you, but it's just not for me. It's doing nothing but bringing me down and pissing me off and making me want to go back and listening to old Smashing Pumpkins. For now, I'm feeling a strong 2 on this act, but let me know what you all think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.